Welcome back, you little hoe. Hey guys, if you're new here, don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, turn on your post notifications so you never miss out on any future videos. For today's video, I know I am a little bit behind, but let me tell you, this tea is gonna be juicy, okay? So for today's story time, I'm gonna tell you about the time my boyfriend left me in jail, lied to me, and left me in jail. So let's begin with which boyfriend this was, okay? So this boyfriend was very toxic, both him and I to each other, mostly him to me, but me being a, you know, you can't be dealing with bullshit like that. So anyway, me and him had already had a lot of problems, hence problems with the law, problems with the police. So the police kind of already knew who we were, what we were, how we looked, what we drove, what we didn't drive. So keep that in mind. All right, so then one morning I and my boyfriend were gonna go to work, but since we both shared one car, we're in the car getting ready to go to work, and we're driving, about to hit the freeway, and I literally, like, I kid you not, like 2 seconds into entering the freeway, I see in my rearview mirror and it's the cops pulling me over. So obviously I screw to the side, pull over, take out license, you know, all that good stuff that they ask you. The cop comes, and lo and behold, who it is, one of the cops that knows who I am of earlier. So I give him all my information. He goes back to his car, and then he comes happy as hell, and he's all like, hey, I'm gonna have to arrest you because there's a warrant out for your arrest. So I'm like, oh fuck, okay, whatever. So then my boyfriend's like, what am I gonna do? Like, do I go pull you out? Like, I gotta go to work, blah 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 blah. And he tells me, he's all like, well, I'll go to work, and then after work, like, I'll just go and bail you out. And then in my head I was all like, okay. But in reality, I was like, bitch, what do you mean? Hell to the no. You mean you're gonna go straight to jail and go bail me out, right? You know what I'm saying? But whatever, I was just like, I agreed, and I was like, okay. And so I get arrested. They take me to county, and they start the booking process, which takes forever, okay? Keep in mind. So I'm in there, already tripping out, like, what the hell, like, wearing out for my arrest, fuck this, fuck the cops, fuck the law. My attitude was out of 10 and not a good one, you know? So I'm booked in, and I'm just in the cell chilling and vibing, and you always get a phone call when you're in the booking process, which is like the first level of county. So I get my first phone call, and then I call my boyfriend, and I let him know, like, hey, like, they're booking me already, like, this is my first phone call, whatever, you know. And he's like, oh, like, they're gonna let me bail you out during my break, blah blah blah. So I was like, okay, good, like, thank God, you know. So yeah, he's like, at my lunch they're gonna let me go bail you out. So I was like, okay, cool. And then around lunchtime, 3-4 around o'clock comes around, and somehow I'm still in the bottom booking process, and I finesse another phone call. I don't remember how I finessed another phone call, but somehow I was able to get another phone call. So I call him, and I'm like, hey, like, I was able to finesse another phone call, like, what's going on? He's all like, oh, like, I'm already headed to the booking place. You should be, like, booked out, like, in a couple of hours. And I was like, okay, cool, like, thank God, like, you know, this is like my worst nightmare. I literally woke up and I went to jail, like, I didn't even get to go to work. So it's like 3-4 o'clock. He's telling me he's headed that way, so it should be a couple hours. Cool. Usually, like, the bailing out process is like 6 hours, so I already knew that. So I knew that it was gonna take a while. So while passes by, 6 hours, 7 hours, and all these people are leaving my cell because they're getting booked out, right? Jessica, Fiona, Shrek, Janiqua, you know, Laquanda, everyone, but nobody's calling my fucking name. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, did this bitch fucking lie to me? And like, this isn't the first time he lies to me. So obviously, like, I'm thinking, like, this bitch fucking lied to me. This bitch fucking left me. Like, I was having the worst fucking ugliest anxiety attack that I kept pressing this button that's in the cell that you press, and like it obviously talks to the officers in case, let's say, somebody gets in a fight or there's like an emergency or something, you need more toilet paper because there's a toilet in there, etc, etc. So I'm like fucking pressing this fucking button because I'm having an anxiety attack, and I don't remember what I was telling him, and I just kept pressing it and pressing it, and obviously this officer was annoyed with me, you know, to the point where he's like, fuck this bitch. So then I give up and I stop pressing the fucking button because I'm just like, no one's coming to my rescue. And I'm just there, left, thinking the worst. And then we're moved to the fucking upstairs where you start kind of like moving into the colored jumpsuit. And you have to take a shower beforehand. So I'm in the shower, you get light shampoo, I'm scrubbing, 30 second shower, like quick. You shower your head, then you shower your body, and you're out. And then they give you your clothes, the clothes that you're gonna wear upstairs. So they give me a green jumpsuit, I believe, and they take me upstairs to this other like holding cell, but it's like in the upper levels. And I'm there waiting, like hoping maybe like later on they'll call me and tell me like, oh, like you're gonna get bailed out, because you can still go up there and they're gonna call you to get bailed out. So I'm waiting and nothing happens. The fucking time comes around where they start giving you like blankets, where I'm like, oh my god, like are we going to sleep in here? They start giving you blankets. And thank God they gave us like this little like foam mini mattress that was ugly and disgusting. And yeah, so we get it and we're fucking there to sleep. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, this guy left me in here. I'm like tripping. Now I'm telling these girls, like, do you think like that he would do that? And I'm like, well, what's gonna happen? Like, how does the processing thing? Like, I've never been all the way up here. And like all these fucking people are telling me the worst. I remember this fucking bitch was telling me like, oh nah, like this and that. And I'm over here like, fuck this hoe, like she's on drugs, like I can't trust this bitch, you know. So I'm like, whatever, fucking tripping out. And then the fucking next day pulls up and I'm still not fucking bailed out. And at this point, like, there's no phone calls, like, no nothing, because you only get one. But I finessed my second one, so, like, I couldn't finesse another one, you know? And then, so I'm there, and the fucking day pulls up. They give us our fucking breakfast. I don't eat it. Whatever, they give us our lunch, because our lunch time pulls up, too. And I don't fucking eat it, because that food tasted disgusting. Finally, they start separating us into our categories of where we're gonna go, because clearly everyone's in a different charge, so they separate everyone. So then I go separated to my own final cell where they have everyone, where the TVs are at, where there's like bunkers and stuff like that. They take me there, and once you go there, there's an actual phone, and in that phone you can make your phone calls whenever the fuck you want. But on the bracelet that you have like certain numbers, and then with those numbers is the way you make a phone call. So I didn't know that, and I'm like asking some girl there, like, oh, like in my holding bunker cells, I was like, oh, like, do you know how to make a phone call? Like, can you show me? And at this point I'm like, bitch, like, who am I gonna fucking call? Like, if I call my ex, like, he doesn't have money to fucking what's it called, like, to answer the thing. Either that, or I knew that he was at work, so I knew he wasn't gonna answer. And I think actually that's what it was. So then I'm like, who can I call? I can't call my mom. I can't call my dad because we're not on speaking terms. So I'm like, fuck, like I can't really call anyone. But I'm just like, fuck it, I'm gonna call my stepmom, because I know she's the only one that's gonna be able to answer, like is available to answer, and that's gonna actually have like money to pay for the fee, for the phone call fee. And also, like, I wasn't on speaking terms with my stepmom, but I was just like, fuck it, like, this is my only fucking hope. Like, this fool left me in here, you know, like, fuck me. So I call her and I get on the phone with her, and I'm like, Letty, like, I'm in jail, like, left me in here, blah, 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 blah. And she's all like, oh my god, like what happened? I tell her that there was a warrant out for my arrest, blah 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 blah. And then she's all like, oh well, like and I told her the story about how he had said that he was gonna bail me out, and that I was left there, and that he didn't. And I finally was able to make another phone call, which was to her. So she's like, oh well, let me three-way call him. And I was like, oh my god, like okay. Like I gave her the number. She three-way called him while I was still on the phone, so I was able to talk to him too. And then like when he answered, I was all like, I was talking to him. I was like, hey, like what happened? Like what the fuck? And he's all like, I bailed you out. Like I don't know why the fuck they say that they don't have your papers, that they lost them, they can't find them. And then I was like, so what's gonna happen? He's like, well, thank God that I still have the receipt, so I'm gonna go after work and then see what's up, what the fuck, you know? So I was like, okay, like yeah, that sounds good, like thank God. And then when he told me that they didn't have my processing papers, that they couldn't find them, it gave me a fucking idea of like, oh my god, probably when I was pressing the fucking button like a crazy bitch, the fucking officer threw my papers away. Imagine that. Like I swear I'm pretty sure that's what happened, because that officer was annoyed with me, but at the same time, like, bitch, you have to understand, but I also understand him, that I'm pretty sure there's like thousands of bitches that try to get their way out of like saying like, oh, they're having an anxiety attack or stuff like that, you know? So I get him, but he should get me too. But anyway, the fact that he threw away my papers, that's rude and disrespectful. Like, don't fucking be doing that. So if you think that cops and people are not like that, they are, okay? So in my advice, stay away from any kind of trouble and you'll be Gucci. Anyway, continuation. So yeah, he's gonna go show the receipt, get the papers processing again, and yeah, that's that. Everyone's Gucci. I hang up and I'm just vibing, right? Like I'm vibing in that cell because I clearly have to wait like another fucking 6 hours, if that, maybe more, because I don't even know what time he's gonna get there and at what time this and that. So I'm just vibing in the cell, and in the cell there's also some girl that came with me from the very first bottom cell when they first booked me in. And this girl, she was like 17. So she was like super young. She was in her pajamas and she was tripping out, like super scared, you know? So like I made friends with her and I was just like vibing with her. And at one point, like after my phone call with my stepmom and my boyfriend, she started having also an anxiety attack. So I told her like, oh, do you want to like just walk around like this fucking cell block and, you know, just walk around, get your mind off of it. Like clearly we can't do anything besides try to do something here. So we start walking around, and there's like 4 tables in the middle, so we kind of like walk around the tables just like chilling, talking. And there's this other girl that's, I guess, has already been there for a long time, right? While we're walking, this girl starts talking mad shit and saying things like in Spanish, but like to her friends, not to us, like just saying things in Spanish, basically saying that like, what the fuck, like we're bothering her, like why the fuck are we walking around, like this is her spot, like, you know, like keep in mind literally like it's around the whole fucking dining area, like I'm pretty sure that's everyone's spot. But anyway, she's speaking Spanish to her friends. Keep in mind, she's like this short little girl, right? Not even little girl. She looked older, but she was short, right? So she was like this feisty Latina and stuff. So I could obviously understand her, and I'm just like ignoring her, and I'm like, whatever, right? The girl like kind of like stops talking shit because she goes and takes a shower. Like she literally has like a whole ass fit to the point where she's like, ugh, and she goes, takes a shower. So after her shower, I'm just like vibing in the cell with all the other people, and we're just talking, blah blah blah. And tell me why, like this girl, they had, I guess they had already had lunch by the time I had pulled up in there. So this girl had all her extra food that they had given them, or like maybe that she exchanged with somebody else, and it was like beans, rice. It was like this styrofoam white plate that you get like at fast food places. And tell me why she starts feeding me, like giving me some in my mouth, like spoon feeding me, and I'm like, okay sis, work, you know, spoon feed me all you want, baby girl. But yeah, anyways, I'm just vibing, and obviously like there's nothing to do, so I try to fucking go to sleep, right? And I'm trying to go to sleep, and then out of nowhere they call my name, and I'm like, oh my god, what the fuck's going on? They're like, gather your stuff because you're leaving, you're getting bailed out. And I'm like, oh shit, what the fuck, like hell yeah, like finally. So I go ahead and grab my stuff, start grabbing all my stuff to get ready to leave, and then they finally come back and they take me, and I take all my stuff, right? But before I'm leaving, one of the girls that was talking shit with that other little girl, or not the little girl, the feisty Latina, asked me for my shoes, because obviously when you go in, they give you new shoes, not some fucking Crocs style brand, but some fucking knockoff looking shoes like that, and your things, they give you razor blades, toilet paper, shampoo, and like a bar of soap and a toothbrush. So before you leave, like everyone in like the bunkers are like, hey, like, can I have your toilet paper, can I have your this, can I have your that? So I exchanged most of that stuff with the people that were in my bunker cell, like where the people were feeding me. So all I really had left was my shoes. And so when I was leaving, one of the girls that was talking shit with the feisty Latina, she was telling me in Spanish, hey, can I have your shoes? And then I was just like, my shoes? My shoes? I tell her. I was like, weren't you just talking shit about me right now? And now you want my shoes? And she's like, oh no, like, we weren't talking shit about you, we were talking shit about that other girl. And honestly, like, I think these girls probably thought that I was like a white girl, because at that time I had blue hair, but it had faded so much to the point where it was ratchet. It looked like green, blue, nasty hair. So I'm pretty sure they thought I was like a white girl or something. So that's why when they were speaking Spanish, they probably thought I didn't speak Spanish. And the girl that I was with, she was very white skinned too, and she had like very like super pale, like white looking girl skin, you know, like she just looked like a white girl. I don't think she's white, maybe she is white, I'm not sure. She still follows me if you're watching this. Hi girl. Anyway, so yeah, so when she says like, oh, we were talking shit about you, like we were talking shit about that other girl, I was just like, okay, whatever, boo boo, yes. I was like, well, you guys need these shoes more than I do anyways. So then I take off my shoes and I give them to her and we trade, and then yeah, I leave and I walk out, and like the belting out process is kind of lengthy sometimes, depending how many people are there. You get to like change back into your like normal clothes that you came in, but you still have to like chill, and then like they process people group by group. So it took me a while. Finally, like when I'm at the end, like when they're asking you like, oh, is this your name, is this your birthday, they give you back your belongings before you walk out officially out of the building. I'm like, yes, that's me, give me my shit. So then I make a phone call to my boyfriend. I'm like, I'm finally out. Like, where the fuck are you? Pull up. And he's all like, okay, like, I'm parked here by the parking lot. Like, I'm gonna start walking towards you because it's, like, fucking super late at night. And obviously it's downtown. Like, you don't want to do that, right? So then I'm waiting and, like, I don't see him. So he's probably walking slow as fuck. So then I start walking, like, in that direction. And as I start walking, I see like a little shadow, and then like I swear in my mind, and like in that moment, it still feels like in those novelas or in those drama scenes where like people haven't seen each other like in years, and then like they notice each other and then they start running to each other, and then it's like slow-mo with like very romantic music. So it was legit like that. I saw him and we started running towards each other, and then I jumped on him, and then I was like, oh my god, I missed you, blah 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 blah. So it was crazy. And honestly, like, tell me why, I swear to God that I thought he left me in that bitch. Like, si era capaz, like that fool had done the worst to me. So like, that's the guy that I caught fucking some bitch. Like, if you haven't seen that story, like, you need to go watch that story, because like, I literally thought he had done that because he had done all this other whack shit to me. But yeah, but tell me why his mom told me that the whole time that I was in jail, he couldn't sleep, he couldn't eat, he couldn't do anything, not even like leave the bed, all this and that. And tell me why he was that ex that would tell everyone, oh, this bitch is crazy, like, fuck her, like, this and that, this and that. And I'm like, this bitch ass. But anyway, that was a pretty eventful story, honestly. I do not recommend, and do as I say and not as I do, as my father would tell me. And yeah, I hope you guys like this story time, and if you didn't, then unsubscribe, baby girl, because there's more where that came from. Like, share, comment, turn on your post notifications, and I'll see you guys on my next story time. Bye.